be.
100%.
And switching gears to just very quickly to the closing part of our conversation, which is a little bit of the flavor of how AI has made a difference in
Hmm.
how you run a
Hmm.
technology organization today. So my first
Hmm.
question right off of the top is, how are you, or yourself as an organization, and even the other technology peer leaders who are your peers in the ecosystem you
Hmm.
spend time with, how are you seeing
Hmm.
them adopt and leverage AI, right? If you could
Hmm.
give me a sense of what are some of the 2 to 3 key roles or key areas of opportunity where you're
Hmm.
seeing AI deployment in a technology organization giving very, very high ROI, any tools that you use which you would like to share, right? So
Hmm.
that people also get a sense of, okay, what are some of the top technology leaders using themselves today? I think would be
Hmm.
a great starting point
Hmm.
to get a flavor of how you use AI as an organization today.
Got it. Got it. Got it. I think before I answer that question, just set some more context so you know where I'm coming from.
Yes.
I think there is a lot of fluff, honestly, when it comes to AI, Rohit. I think everybody needs to calm down a little bit. It's at the end of the day, software. It's it's a lot more powerful software than what existed in the past, but it's still a software. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Auto regressions existed in the past. Variational auto encoders, they existed in the past. GANs existed in the past. Diffusion existed in the past. What changed is transformers, right? Uh, Transformers essentially are, they're types of models that allow you to take every token, every word, every pixel, and do parallel processing all at once, right?
Right. Right.
And make sense through a mechanism called as self attestation, right? I think fundamentally, that's and it has been enabled by significant advancement in infrastructure, right?
Right. Right.
So these two things have come together and really created something very powerful. But at the end of the day, it's still software. There is no, uh, you know, super thinking, etc. that has come out. Maybe it will at some point. Never say no, but we'll see, right? But we are where we are today, right? Now, given that as a context, especially when it comes to, let's say, having seen huge patterns of data in the past and being able to answer questions, uh, that's the premise in which it really works very well. uh, AI in the context of software engineering today, to answer your question, would be very useful when we are looking at, let's say, boilerplate code, or trying to brainstorm on a particular kind of approach to a given problem, helping in PR reviews, because these things help with velocity,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or if you have a fairly distributed set of systems, leveraging it towards reducing the mean time to detect the issue as in incident management. Very, very useful. Then, of course, there are other aspects around, let's say, templatizing. It could be design templates that you're sort of trying to create. You don't necessarily need to end up spending inordinate hours trying to do the same thing with some tweaks. You could just pass a message and say, create 10 different kinds of designs for 10 different
Sure.
days, for example, and
Sure.
it'll sort of create that for you and then tweak it later, right? So these are some of the areas. Of course, we use some of these tools extensively. We sort of have experimented with Copilot, Claude, Anthropic, so in pockets, and we continue to sort of tinker, with various tools that keep coming. But we're also very realistic about, the amount of impact, specifically in software engineering, on operations. Too, to your point, I think there is a significant amount of leverage that one can generate, especially automation, right? Of certain areas where there's a bunch of repetitive things that are happening today. Um, they could be machines when it comes, and then when I say operations, warehouse management, etc. I think there's a decent amount of robotics
Right.
that can be applied. image recognition, in terms of quality of certain kind of areas. So yes, so it's a powerful technology. It opens up significant areas of optimization.
Hmm.
Um, but I would imagine that it has its limits, so to speak, in terms of how much it can
Got
do.
it. Got it. And just the last question along these lines is, with people now also coming up with more AI capabilities as a background, or say being able to use some of these tools capabilities also become important. Want to understand from a hiring and skilling perspective, has anything changed with the advent of AI, right? Both in terms of say the kind of people you hire, the capabilities you expect them to have, but also are you using AI, for example, to screen and interview candidates? Because that's another area that we've been seeing is very popular, right? People have created environments for with adaptive difficulty, where a candidate can come do a live problem solving in the course of an interview, which of course the claim is that it's a much better way to evaluate somebody's performance and somebody's skills than say a
Mm.
more static interview, or something of that sort. So I just want to get a sense whether you're seeing these things. Has it reached that point yet where you're investing in these capabilities today, or this is still something that you see either as not very relevant or something that's farther down the line and not really a priority at the moment? That's my last closing question for the session.
No. It's definitely relevant. Although, one of the chief lessons of history is that many of the things that we consider natural,
Mm-hmm.
or for that matter of fact, right, are actually man-made, right, in some sense. So there would be certain kinds of patterns that look very natural today in terms of how we do, right? But they're all processes or structure that we would have built over time, right? Similarly, when it comes to AI, yes, we're leveraging it today. When it comes to, let's say, interviews, but what we also do is we don't go with it blindly. Meaning,
Mm-hmm.
uh, again, when we are using AI internally to, let's say, generate boilerplate code in some areas, there is no reason why we should have a different set of standards for person who's giving an interview,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
So leverage whatever tool you want, but what we also do is change context, saying, "Great, this is what you've done. Now let's modify."
Mm-hmm.
When you're modifying, it is very important that the mental model of the engineer does not change. Then there's a problem, right?
Right.
then there is
Right.
then there is over dependence, right? Because remember what I
Mm-hmm.
said, there's only two. It's software at the end of the day, and it is able to do a certain amount of asks, right? It's not replacing the engineer in any way, right? It's complementing what the engineer can do. It's very important that the engineer understands what is getting generated, right? So that's how we sort of
Got it.
leverage it to the extent that,
Got it.
and
Got it.
it's super important, because in the future, if you are not leveraging some of these tools, then you are going to end up becoming redundant, right? Or for that matter, you're going to get left behind. So it's important that you use these tools, but you absolutely cannot compromise on first principles.
I understand. Makes sense.
There
Makes
is
a
zero compromise there, right? Because we
got
don't
it.
have an alternate. I mean, there's no alternate to software engineers, right? I mean,
That's true.
regardless of what we want to claim.
No, no, makes a lot of sense. But look, Kaushik, thanks a lot for taking the time to do this. I think this has been
Sure.
quite eye-opening for me. It's been one of the few times that I've had a chance to really sit and speak to somebody who's been in the technology space for that long, across companies, across levels and functions, at length. So it's quite eye-opening to get a perspective of, how you think about these things, how you do things, and also some of these nuggets of wisdom and some lessons that were interspersed throughout this entire discussion. Really, really appreciate you doing this. And thank you once again.
Thanks, Rohit. Lovely chatting. I had a great time talking to you, and it was good to sort of, like I was saying, jog back memory lane. So, thank you.
So that's perfect.